on Thursday, December 8th. No, that's last month, sorry. Thursday, January 12th, 2023. It's a new year. I see we have a quorum present. This is the appointed time and place of the Bismarck Parking Authority's monthly meeting. So welcome, whether you're with us in person or watching from home or elsewhere. First item on the agenda would be to consider the minutes from the meeting of December 8th, 2022. Any changes, corrections, questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Also move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Move on to the financials. Before we get into the budget, we'll look at the December financials. Jeremy, do you have anything you wish to point out?
No, just a few items, Mr. Chairman. So with this is December month-end financials, and then also, of course, year-to-date for year-end of 2022. And positive to point out is that we are, on the income side, we were 30,000 ahead of budget on income. And then as far as total expenses, we were 8,000 under budget. So our net income was a positive 38,000 compared to our budget. Few higher expenses though for December, of course. Snow removal was a big hit. On repairs and maintenance, we did actually take an opportunity to purchase a few extra spare parts for our Amano equipment, specifically the pay stations, just to have parts on hand so they're ready, accessible if we need to do repairs and things like that, certain control boards and that sort of thing. And then also utilities, electric. The stairwells of the ramps are electric heat, and so extra cost, of course, with below average temps for December. So that's all I have. And the reserve account, 1,366,788, plus the 160,622 in our checking savings. Total available cash, 1,527,410.
Which we'll continue to spend, of course, going forward. Thanks for the update and the report. Jeremy, any questions of management on the financials? Kyle?
I just have a question with regards to the snow removal. Normally we don't get this much snow this early in the year, but from managing through that and seeing where there are, is there anything that management would see that if this event happened again or this early, I mean, how did you struggle through it or made it?
So for the most of this, so our on-site staff, we do the snow removal of the ramps themselves. This snow removal is specifically for the city lots because we have to haul it out because there's nowhere to pile it, and so that's where the majority of that cost come from. And so we work with an contracted vendor for that. So there weren't a lot of snags. The vendor has been the same vendor that we've used for several years now and is used to bigger events as far as getting out there early, knowing that the lots have to be cleared for our customer traffic that's going to be coming in, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 and 8 usually. So they get it cleared before that. Does that answer or okay?
Yeah, I note in the budget, which we'll get to, for last year, the budget was $25,000 for snow removal. So I'm sure everybody operates any buildings with parking lots, November and December weren't very friendly, and neither was April for that matter. So other questions of Jeremy? Anybody questions on the financials? Nothing over there. If there's nothing further, we would entertain a motion to approve the financials.
I so move.
Moved by Todd. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jake. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please. Sue?
Josh?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you. We're on to item 3, which is review the 2023 budget, the 2023 budget. We'll probably let Jeremy kind of walk us through it, and then we'll discuss it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Parking Authority board members. So in your packet, there's a comparison of what the 2022 budget was set at and then where the 2022 actual came in as kind of a guide to show where the numbers were put together for the 2023 budget. And on the income side, the monthly parking is taking into account the rate increase that will be going into effect for March. On the rental income side for the commercial part of the parkade, is lower because of the Thrifty White vacant space that will be going on the market here shortly. But just to account for some roughly about 6 months of vacancy onto that, just because of the way the market is currently sitting. On the utilities, electric and gas, so we will see some savings on the LED lights upgrade that was recently done. But again, because of the electric heaters in the stairwells of the ramps, it's hard to kind of figure out how to offset that at this point, and so that's why the budget is just matching what actual is for 2022. We'll have a better idea throughout the year of 2023 what savings we're getting on the LED lights upgrade. And then, of course, yes, with snow removal, we know that there was a large snow event here in December with the bills that we're going to be getting in January. So having to set that a little higher, just matching 2022 in that regard. And then, of course, insurances, we were seeing all property insurances increasing. And then leasing commissions take into account potential for Thrifty White space to be rented, and then renewals as well. And then payroll costs and benefits is a 3% increase for on-site staff.
Okay, questions? Jake?
I just had one question under income. We have general parking, monthly parking, and then parking rent. So I'm curious to know what the difference is between general parking and parking rent.
Yep, great question. So general parking is the hourly parking, and then parking rent is the parkade commercial. So we just separate that out so we are able to track what is being expensed to the parkade commercial folks as part of their leases that on the income that's coming in on that. And that's actually offset then too by parking fees on the expense side. That's specific to the parkade because there are some tenants that have parking included in their rent.
Did that answer it?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Other questions? Other questions on the budget?
Jeremy, do you think the snow removal at 40 grand is legit? Or do you think we're gonna be, because right now, we're gonna have to haul everything because there's nowhere to pile anything, and is it?
So given the snow event that we had in April, and then of course again in November with those bills that we got in December that are in the 2022 actual, unless we get any major more events, this still does account that we could potentially get one or more of those large events, and so that's just basing it off of that. So cross our fingers.
One last comment on the snow removal. Our contractor, I don't even know who they are, but they do a bang-up job. They are there at like 5 in the morning, and it's cleaned up and hauled away. So whoever they are, they do a heck of a job for us. So
Yep, thank you for that comment. It's a Landstar
Yeah.
excavating, so I'll pass that comment along.
Jeremy, do we do some of that ourselves with the small front-end loader that we have, or?
Right, so on the ramps themselves, we do use our pickup with the blade and then also the Bobcat. But the lots specifically, because it has to be hauled out, we just have a contractor
Sure.
come in with their payloader and take care of it all at once.
Okay, other questions? Okay, Josh? I had a question. The payroll always, as always, makes up a big chunk of our budget. How many of out of the payroll costs of 300,000, let's say, but how many full-time employees or equivalents do we have that are working strictly for the parking authority business?
We have about between cashiers and maintenance and the parking authority office management manager full-time, it's about equivalent of 10
10.
full-time.
Thanks. Any other questions? What are your wishes on the budget? Probably should have a motion to adopt it or approve it.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget as proposed.
All right, thank you. Jake, is there a second?
Second.
Josh seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please. Sue?
Josh,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes, that motion carries. Then attached to the budget is a capital projects, which Again, we'll let Jeremy walk us through that, if you'd be so kind.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. So I did a separation of what would be required for ramps and lots, and then also separate equipment. So this is just kind of a base point, because we're not really sure yet on, as far as the purple level tendon repairs and the spiral helix repairs, what that will come in. I was going off of a kind of a basis of what Walker had estimated in their original documents that we got from their assessment report. But it will remain to be seen once that goes out for RFP. Then also the parkade ramp traffic coding will be taken care of doing RFPs internally in-house for that. We won't need an engineer involved, but again, just a basis point for cost estimates on that. And then we can, as a board, you can choose yea or nay on depending on what those costs come in at. And then the parkade ramp, specifically the rooftop level exterior, the concrete stairs, just due to weather over time, is starting to deteriorate and crumble. So that would be an item we should handle and recommended to handle in 2023. For equipment, this is just a carryover regarding security cameras upgrades. Currently, we have the analog cameras in place. Everything, of course, is shifting to digital, and those analog cameras are becoming obsolete. And if we have one that goes down, we do have spare parts, and we're able to do replacements, but those are starting to become obsolete, and we may have to upgrade to digital here eventually. And then the sweeper machine has been on our list for about a year and a half now, still back ordered. 6 months ago, we actually checked with Tenant, which was the equipment that we currently have that we've been limping along and repairing so that we actually have a sweeper. But at the time, we asked what it would be if we were to cancel our purchase order and go with a different company, and Tenant's the other big supplier of sweepers, what that time frame would be, and they quoted us 6 months at that time as well. So we wouldn't have been any better off, so we were playing the waiting game with NOFIS, but I think we need to check into that again. The only problem, too, is we've got that price locked on that purchase order, and prices have gone up since then, if we were to switch.
Okay.
We put a deposit on that as well?
Actually, no, we were not required to do a deposit.
Any of the other items on this list committed to, signed, I mean, well, the tendon repair? obviously.
This doesn't account for the engineer costs, I guess.
I was gonna,
I
that was
did
my
not-
next question.
I did
There's
not include that.
$119,000. So
Right.
where does that show up in this capital?
That was missed, actually. I didn't put
Okay.
that part in there. This would just
Okay.
be the repairs side.
Okay. But other than the engineering costs and assuming we're gonna do the repairs, any of the rest of these, we haven't committed or accepted any of these projects, have we?
No commitments yet.
Okay. Questions?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. The commitment would be for the NILFISC with the purchase
Right.
order, but like I say, we're not.
Gotcha.
Until we receive it, we don't pay for that.
And do you have a priority preference if you had a magic wand and could have a wish list and fulfill any or all of the above? Any recommendations?
Well, I mean, the parkade repairs would be priority one. Traffic coding could potentially wait and hold off for another year or so. The engineer's recommending for us to do that to elongate the life of the ramp, but it's not like it's gonna make a big difference within a 1 or 2 year time frame. I'm just kind of thinking on that. And then also security cameras, equipment costs are going up the longer we wait on that, but again, we could hold that off for a year on that if need be.
Did we get proposals for security cameras?
So we did get an initial bid just to see where our baseline would be
Okay.
from a local company, and this was the amount that they had submitted.
But we
So-
haven't advertised for,
No, we have not
Okay.
done formal RFP yet.
okay. And is the spiral coating and the helix, is the engineering for that, was that included in the other project or not? I don't remember. And the tendon repair, the $119,000 in design engineering? Does that include anything for the spiral?
As far as these amounts, or
Correct. Is the design for that repair included?
no?
It's not.
No, this
Okay,
would
that'll
be,
be
these are
separate.
just estimates for the repairs
Yeah,
only.
okay. 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 Thoughts, comments, additions, subtractions? Anything else you'd like to see added to the wish list? You know, take any action on any of these? Would you like any action today, Jeremy?
This would be more just for
Just an FYI?
reference,
Okay.
because we would have to go out for RFP on pretty much all of these items. So it would just be a matter of when we get that scheduled.
Anybody have any thoughts?
Question on the security and the cameras. You said we have some spare parts if something were to go down. How much kind of bandwidth do we have on that as far as if one breaks, then that's the last one, or how much time do we have before we would have to jump on that?
Before it becomes critical, I don't have a specific time frame. We just, our supplier had been able to come up with, and we do have on average a few cameras that go out annually. That may increase now as the years go by. So far, they've had a supplier that still has those particular analogs in play, but I'm just guessing maybe a year or two.
So just a follow-up question on that too. So like on average right now, how old would you say the camera system is?
I'm going to turn to the other table. I'm not sure what year that was installed.
Dennis was in grade school back then.
You know, I think if any of these projects, if we think we're gonna do them, you know, the way the contracting world works, once these contractors, if they're hungry early on in the year, you maybe get a little favorable pricing, not necessarily on materials, but on labor. But once they start filling up and then their docket is full for the year and we come to them in May or June, and then they don't need it, and then that's where you see the bids high. So maybe by next meeting, we have a decision on which ones we want to do and get those proposals out there,
Good point.
possibly.
What's the urgency of the helix repair, and how long would that tie up the ramp? I don't recall all of that because it's been a while since CW or whoever brought us up to speed on that, but it's been over a year, hasn't it, or longer?
So from their last report, that was from actually 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
When they were recommending those repairs.
Okay. And that's just something you work into the schedule, and they work on weekends, and, I mean,
Right, because we're, as far as that scope, that's what they're putting together with the engineer documents, and so then we'll know coordination of what that would entail, if it would need to be shut down for a period of time and how long that would be.
and does it make any sense to try and schedule that, coordinate that with the other repairs, with the tendon repairs on the purple level, or not necessarily? Different contractor?
I think the RFP will go out for both at the same time, so the intent would be one contractor to do both
Okay.
if it can work that way.
Okay, well, that would make sense, right? If that's the plan? Okay. The rooftop concrete stairs, that could be done as a separate, smaller project, I would guess, by a local general contractor? Correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And then the security cameras, that would replace the entire system?
Right, full system for all the ramps and the parkade building.
Okay. Well, I would certainly be in favor of get the ball rolling on those items. Everybody concur with that? So I guess, Jeremy, your direction would be to, those items, well, the tendon repair is in motion, but it's not out to bid yet. But we'd like to add the spiral repair, the concrete stair repair and the security camera upgrade, to move those up to the top of the list. Get the ball going with RFPs or whatever you need to do. Do we need, anybody feel we need a motion? It's the consensus of the parking authority that we do that. Okay? Anything else on that item? On the capital, the CapEx items? Move on to other business. Item 4 on your agenda. Just, it's an FYI, the city commission in their infinite wisdom reappointed your chair for another term of 3 years, I think, is it, Daniel?
5?
5? They know how old the chair is? God. So thank you for that, commissioners and Mayor Schmitz, et cetera, I think. It's a lot of fun. Item B under other business, parkade vacant commercial, former thrifty white space. Jeremy, you'll bring us up to speed.
Yes.
We've done an invitation for
So we
realtors
sent
to
out
bid on leasing that.
packets for invitation to bid to local commercial brokers, requesting for listing agreements so that we can better advertise and market that space and get the word out there to get that rented. And so we did send it to Daniel Companies, Doomlan's, CRA, Rise Property Brokers, and Aspen Commercial. And will be, the deadline for response is end of January.
Okay. And the plan there is to just pick the best one, lowest and best, or whatever?
Yep, and it would be,
Just
I
get
guess,
going.
up to the Parking Authority Board on, make that selection.
Okay. And is that not joined at the hip with the White House restaurant, more or less?
They're adjacent to that, but it is 2 separate spaces.
And what's the status of that tenant?
Well, White House is now by the Batch Bakery, but they are a current tenant.
And they plan to remain?
As far as
guess my
I-
question is.
Yeah, as far as I understand,
Okay.
their business is doing
Looks
well.
good. Anybody have any questions on that item? Any other business for the good of the order? Kate, do you have anything you wish to enlighten us with, or Daniel?
Chairman, authority members, just wanted to let you know that we did get a committee assignment for our Renaissance Zone reinstatement bill. The bill will be House Bill 1266, and it will go to House Finance and Tax. It doesn't have a hearing scheduled yet. They just assigned it yesterday. So there'll be there potentially might be another Renaissance Zone bill, but our main focus is the reinstatement bill. So
Okay.
try and keep you in the loop.
Anything else going on downtown that we should be aware of?
We had some first residents move into the Trestle building this weekend. I saw a Penske truck. I'm sure Jake knows, but
Yay.
so they're starting to move in there, which is great. I think they've got really good interest. So we'll start to see what it looks like to have more residents downtown, which I think should be good for everybody.
Okay. Thanks, Kate. Any questions of Kate? Okay, anything for the good of the order? Nothing further? Hearing and seeing none, if there's no objection, we stand adjourned until February 9th. Thanks, everybody.